Well, good morning, folks. I got the secret message over here that we can get started as people join. So happy to see all the familiar faces and some new names to us as well. My name is Amy Beyer, and I'm the Director for Conservation Resource Alliance for almost 30 years now, believe it or not. And I'm here to welcome you to our virtual river tour. It's not all bad. There's a lot of things that are challenging right now, of course, but it dawned on me that this is for sure the one river trip for you all that I can promise will not cause you to lose your cell phone in the river, will not cause you to have a change of clothes, so we can take advantage of the security and dryness of our own homes, especially at this season. Those actual floats can be a little iffy. So you're safe and sound with Kira this morning. And my job is just to welcome you along with a lot of other CRA friends today. Kira is going to lead us on a tour that lasts about 20 minutes. And during that tour of all of our exciting river projects, we want to encourage you to type into the chat box any questions that you have. We'll leave plenty of room within our hour this morning for those questions to be answered. And also for some, we have you all muted right now, but at the very end, if people want to interact and unmute themselves, we'll have a little time for that type of dialogue as well. And of course, you can always follow up with us after. We'd love to have some new members following us after this meeting, because you've become so interested in the work that we're doing, right?
Good to go. Thank you, Amy. All right. Well, thank you. Miigwech to all of you for attending today. Before we get started, if you are joining us from Michigan, I want to just take a moment to acknowledge the land in which we all reside on today as the ancestral lands and the current residual lands of the three fire tribes, the Odawa, the Potawatomi, and the Ojibwe. Translated as Niswe Mishkodewinan. And with respect, I would like to introduce myself in Anishinaabe-Moan. Minokajep, Ani Buju Kira Davis, Nidishnikas, Makwanandoram, Odawa Kwe Nindao, Bedaskade Nindunjaba, Suttons Bay Nindora. The translation is, it is a good morning. Hello, my name is Kira. I am Bear Clan. I am an Odawa woman. I originate from Petoskey and now live in Suttons Bay. So with that, I said miigwech, which means thank you. So thank you all for attending. Feel free to get up, get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, eat. You know, this is supposed to be really informal. So I'll get started with the tour. I have to tell you, it was really hard to find a picture of our whole crew together, especially looking spiffy and snazzy. But I did find a group photo from 2018. We have a biennial celebration every couple years. And this one was really special because we celebrated our 50th anniversary. Imagine that, 50 years of doing this on the ground conservation work. This picture isn't our whole staff. I will tell you, we are lean. This picture has an intertwinement of our Friends of the Cheat River Sister Organization from West Virginia. Beautiful organization doing hard work. I would tell you they are on social media. So if you don't know about them, please check them out. Most of these folks here are on the line today. And as mentioned, for the last half hour, we're going to be taking questions that you can put into the chat box and unmute yourself after the presentation. But this is our lovely crew. So moving on. For some of you that aren't familiar with CRA, I know that we got a lot of friends and a lot of our partner organizations on the line. But for those of you who want to know a little bit more, we wanted to present our three programs to you. The first one being our River Care program, and that was started 30 years ago. Before this, CRA, Conservation Resource Alliance, was an RC&D, which stands for Resource Conservation and Development Program. That was a program that was funded through USDA NRCS, but funding was minimized back then. And what happened was leaders and staff from the old RC&D took a hard look and what was needed in northern Michigan. And taking care of the waters, more specifically the rivers that feed our Great Lakes, and connecting lands through relationship building and partnerships was identified as a perpetual need in northern Michigan. The River Care program is led by the project team, but takes everybody to accomplish each project in our family, and includes projects such as the dam removals and the road stream crossing improvements. Excited to take on the Wild Roots program. This is a new one for us. It's a new large reforestation pilot program. It was rooted 3 years ago with the goal of planting 100,000 trees within 5 years. CRA and partners recognize getting more roots in the ground will help Mother Earth's resiliency to the ever-changing climate and more frequent severe weather events we are experiencing. We welcome DJ and Mike, bringing a background in implementing forestry plans through NRCS, both a welcoming team to ideas for collaboration. And we want to acknowledge some of our conservation districts, Manistee, Mason Lake, Leelanau, Kalkaska, Grand Traverse Conservation Districts, who have helped us along the way and are collaborating with us this year. The more roots in the ground, the more protection we provide for Great Mother Earth. Last but not least, our WildLink program has increased in capacity over time. It provides us with the mechanism to work with passionate landowners living in riparian corridors or on lands they want to manage for specific wildlife or water uses. It's a fee-for-service program, and if you're a supporter of CRA, project staff will come out to your property in good faith and provide you with a proposal with options to match your needs. So hopefully, Alan, that helped with what we do over here. Okay. So we get asked a lot, how do we prioritize these projects? What you'll see is our work plan that encompasses 3 years. Our work is strategic. It's typically built off work we've done or implemented already in these watersheds. The goal is to restore 100% connectivity to these rivers that feed the Great Lakes. Stream miles opened for fish and aquatic life, reduction of sediment, nutrients, and other chemicals like chloride. Vulnerability to warming and flow factors are important parameters to provide basis on taking on a project. Another very important factor is project and partner readiness. Community feedback and support, collaboration and fundraising opportunities also play an integral role to making all these projects successful and reachable. We cover a large area. We actually are working in 16 watersheds right now with a staff of 11. So how do we feed that machine to keep these folks working so hard? Really, we don't need to. I mean, they all have passion for the resource in their own way, and they care, and that's what keeps them going. So with that, when you signed up, you had the opportunity to download this map, and we're actually going to follow this map somewhat. We're going to follow it from north to south watersheds, but we may jump around a little bit with the projects. But feel free, you can follow along with this work plan map, or just sit back and enjoy the tour. So we'll go ahead and start with the Carp Lake River watershed, which is our northernmost watershed. What we have a picture of here is the Carp Lake River and Munger Road. Surprisingly, during 2020, we were able to stay on schedule with most projects, including the Carp Lake River, Munger Road. This was intertwined with another site on Reed Road, and both of those were completed with just some paving to be done this next season. What these undersized culverts were replaced with is this aesthetically pleasing timber bridge right here. And the Carp Lake River and the Maple River are part of an initiative for us. It's the Carp Lake River and Free Span the Maple River initiative. And the Maple River initiative is the next initiative we're going to talk about here. And we've been working on this initiative for at least a decade. One of our major accomplishments happened in 2018, which was the Lake Kathleen Dam removal. This is a picture, an aerial photo of what the site looked like before dam removal. And I don't have another aerial to show you how the stream has realigned itself, but I do have a photo on the left here of what this looked like when you're standing on the dam in the culverts below here. You can see that that water is almost ready to topple over the road there, and that's Woodland Road. What you see on the right is what we replaced it with, this very beautiful timber bridge. I will tell you, this picture on the right doesn't do the site justice because it was taken before we did a lot of tree plantings through our Wild Roots initiative on that riparian corridor you're seeing there. So if you're in the area, and I know there's a few on the call that live in this area, I'm sure this is going to be really greened up once spring hits. And so I think it will be really beautiful to get back up there this summer and take a good look. I wanted to add a couple of slides only to show some of the complexities that these projects take. This beautiful little beetle here is the Hungerford's crawling water beetle. It's on somebody's fingers, so it gives you an idea of the size of this little beetle. And we're fortunate enough to have it in 5 isolated streams in Canada and Michigan, with 2 of those being the Carp Lake River and the Maple River. So when something like this is identified, it adds another layer of work to our workload, meaning we have to go out and monitor, survey, and relocate if we find this beetle. We don't do this on our own. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is the over-encompassing agency, but we've got such a good group here in Northern Michigan, and we recognize that it was difficult to move projects forward because of these endangered species. And so there's a few folks in Northern Michigan who got certified to actually identify, relocate, and survey these beetles. This is a picture of Eli and Caroline from Tippement Watershed Council, and not in this picture is Lauren Dye from Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians, who helped us with the monitoring at the Carp Lake River and on the Maple. Still in the maple, we have this beautiful little flower, the Michigan monkey flower. It's a federally endangered flower. It's also been found in the Platte River watershed as well. This is also another one of the species that we have to survey and monitor for and potentially relocate, if needed. And I believe we're still monitoring the monkey flower within the Maple River watershed through MNFI. So what have we been doing since 2018 if we took the dam out? Well, first thing is we have to wait and see, how Mother Earth heals and what needs to be done. This is a typical practice after a dam removal. This picture doesn't really do it justice either, but I wanted to give you an idea of what post-restoration looks like. So as you look at that picture, you can see that that stream bank is slumping, and that's because all that impoundment sedimentation was just sitting there for so many years, and that is sand. So they'll slump sometimes. And so Chris Pierce has been leading the Maple and Carp Lake River initiatives and should be on the call for questions. But he was out there every day this summer with his crew, Canals Outdoor Recreation, working on these stream banks. And if you look closely, you can see the root wads in the trees that are placed. They're going to help stabilize that stream bank over time. Free span the Maple River. We're now moving on to the last few of the culverts that are on the east branch of the Maple River. This picture is of Robinson Road, and that is being bundled and fundraised for. When I say bundled, it means that we put these projects together, which helps save money, and it's just more efficient to get design and construction done. The other site that's bundled with that is Douglas Lake Road. You can see these are severely undersized. I also put a picture in here that's very grainy. I'll apologize, my son took it. I lived in Emmett County for many, many years. And so this is dear to me. But when we were up there in April to deliver some trees from our Wild Roots initiative, this is what the road looked like. And this is getting normal for the spring at that site. So the time is now, and both those sites, hopefully we'll be putting in timber bridges for. We're about to go to design for those. With that, we also start working on the feeder streams. So this is one of the feeder streams to the East Branch. This is Van Creek. As you can see on the left picture, those culverts are almost underwater. This road has washed out many times before, but we replaced this crossing with this timber bridge in 2019. And now we're moving on downstream of this site to the bike trail that resides on the Van Creek. There's 2 sites here. This is one of them. So not only are we supporting fish passage and aquatic life, but we're promoting recreational use too. So this bike trail actually currently goes from Charlevoix County, just a few miles north of this particular picture. However, I think there are plans to keep that trail going all the way up to Mackinac City. Moving on to the Jordan. So we are just about to go into design for 2 sites on Jordan River Road. This is one of those sites. You can see those culverts are extremely undersized. You can see the sedimentation from the road surrounding the culverts. So the time is now for these. Also bundled with these is another beautiful tributary of the Jordan River, Deer Creek and Fuller Road. This site is dear to me only because it is the road that takes you to Ravenhill Discovery Center. And actually, I know there's a few people on the call that still engage with students that go to Ravenhill. Actually, little young ladies come and we teach them how to do monitoring on the river. I used to be able to do that in my previous career, and now Little Traverse Bay Bands and Tip of the Mint Watershed Center still annually go out and teach these girls how to do this conservation work. So we're hoping once we replace this old boilerplate that we can continue gathering the data through students, and then we can show the impact of the work we've done. Boardman Dam removals. There's been 3 dams that have been removed on the Boardman River. Currently, our staff is doing post-restoration work, including plantings. We have a lot of partners like the Conservation District, Grand Traverse, who are doing volunteer opportunities all the time for plantings, and they're doing the control for the invasive species. I know we have a few partners, the Watershed Center as well is on the phone. So yes, it took a whole team, and this is a great community that collaborates together to get those dams removed. CRA and some partners are moving upstream to the North Boardman. This is a project that DJ Shook, our newest project manager, is leading. This picture doesn't do the site justice. There's a very large scour pool at the outlet, and the velocity is a lot more extreme than what you're seeing here from this picture. You can tell it's undersized, but yeah, it's definitely a site that needs attention, and design is complete for that. And DJ's been working with a working group along the way. Mitchell Creek Meadows. This is a beautiful acquired land that Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy have now, and we were able to go out this summer for a field tour, and we will be assisting with some of the restoration work on that property. Again, we want to celebrate some of our accomplishments. This is a site that's part of the Benzie County River Care Initiative, and this was led by Kim Balke. As you can see on the left, that's an old boilerplate, and look at all that fill. What it has been replaced with is this beautiful freespan timber bridge, and we also did a few plantings there along the edges of the river. Next up in the Benzie County River Care Initiative is this site. This is Little Platte Lake Creek on Saffron Road. That will be done this season, along with this site, Kinney Creek on North Carmian Road. And both of those have populations of brook trout. I believe Little Platte Lake Creek, and Kim can correct me at the end if I'm wrong, but has some of the densest populations of brook trout. But what you see is a difference in size and age class between these culverts. So we're hoping that we can increase natural reproduction and increase the populations of brook trout. This is also coming to us this summer. It's the Upper Platte River, Goose Road. Nate Winkler has been working with the team, including the DNR, on this project. As you can see, it's barren. It doesn't have a lot of places for fish and aquatic life to live. And so we're going to be enhancing this stretch with in-stream wood and help benefit the habitat of everything living in the river. Betsy River and Hayes Road. This is also a Benzie County River Care Initiative project. We don't always do fish passage work. This is obviously a site that's armored that needs to have some vegetation, has to have more of a natural corridor. Want to reconnect the floodplain here. So yeah, we do different projects in the Just Fish Passage, and this is one of them. And we're still fundraising for this and all of these projects as well. Crystal River. Some of you locals, I'm sure, have shot this tube. I was able to do it this summer. Get it in now, because these are going away. As you can see, this crossing is deteriorating. It's not functioning well. And actually, we're taking on 4 road stream crossings on the Crystal River. This is a priority of Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, and we are collaborating with them. They have a working group up there as well, going through designs currently. Manistee River Watershed. We got a few partners that work in this area, including TU and Huron Pines. We facilitate a couple watershed committees within the Manistee River Watershed. Chris Pierce runs the Bear Creek Watershed meetings and also facilitates and collaborates with another person on the Big Sable Restoration Committee. This is a project that Wexford County Road Commission, who's a good partner of ours, is going to implement. We have submitted a regional proposal to assist them, possibly financially, but this is definitely a priority of theirs, and you can see why by the picture. And so they'll move forth regardless, but we're going to try to help them out. Silver Creek and Pine River. So this is one of the 2 sites that we're going to be implementing, and we're going to be bidding this out soon. This will be done this summer. This is one of the 2 sites. They both are similar. You can see it's eroding. We're going to enhance in-stream habitat. We're also going to stabilize these banks. And this is a partnership with the Pine River Steering Committee. And Nate Winkler, I believe, is on the phone to take any questions on this project. So again, celebrations, right? We gotta take a minute to reflect always. This was a project. This is Sires Lake, which drains into Sires Creek in the Little Manistee watershed. This is what it looked like before dam removal. And this is what it looks like this winter. You can see that the river is finding itself. We'll be going back there to plant some tamaracks and some other trees through our Wild Roots initiative. Nate Winkler was leading this project. A Chris Pierce led project here. This is phase 3. There was 2 phases already that connect to the stream bank stabilization work. That's a picture of one of either phase 1 or phase 2, and it gives you an idea of how those stream banks are stabilized with wood. Last but not least, our flagship watershed, Pure Marquette. So this truly is the local and CRA's priority in the Pure Marquette watershed right now. This picture doesn't do it justice. I wish that we could all be there to hear that train when it goes by. It literally shakes the earth. But what you can see is that the stream bank is eroding because of this train going across and just the amount of energy there. This project would really undo 30 years of work that CRA and partners with the Pure Marquette Watershed Council have done. And so this is a priority. Those cars are carrying toxic chemicals. And so we do not want to see that fall into the river. And if you have any questions about this project, Kim Bulke is leading this effort. This is the Scottville Park. We are about to go into agreement with the city of Scottville. We are working with them to implement best management practices. As you can see, this riparian corridor could use some vegetation. One other thing that you can't see on the left is there is a current that's very strange. It goes both ways, and people sometimes use this as a swimming hole, and it's not very safe. So what we want to do is improve fishing conditions, but maybe, you know, have people not swim there. So we'll be working on the shoreline here. The next up project with our partnership with Lake County Road Commission is North Coal Creek on East 24th. We just got approved with U.S. Fish and Wildlife to do design for this site. I have great respect for my elders, and I have to tell you, there is a elderly woman. She's the only woman that lives at the end of this road. Oh, she's our favorite fan right now. She's so happy we're doing the site. She's been stuck on the other side of these culverts before. So we're excited to get this done. And this is a headwater of the Pure Marquette main stem. Marshville dam removal. This is a new county and a new watershed for us. This is Stony Creek. It's a gem of a creek. What you're looking at is crumbling infrastructure from an old dam. We are actually in direct partnership with the Oceana County Parks and Rec Committee, along with many other partners, fundraising for design currently for the site. What you don't see in this picture is that there are culverts just downstream that also are deteriorating. So this is a road stream crossing improvement and dam removal. And Nate and DJ would be the ones to direct questions to. Wild Roots, I'm gonna pull this up. Last but not least, this is one of our regional efforts I talked about in the beginning. These dots show you the impact of this program. Each dot is a tree planting. And I love that, you know, I'm not having any favoritism for this area, but if you look at Grand Traverse, the impact is great. So if you have any questions about the Wild Risk program, DJ and Mike are on the line. So with that, I thought I'd end with one of the timber bridges. This is Burt Mill on Platte River. And with that, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for your patience with the technical issues. They're all my own. And now I'm going to give it back over to Kat and Katie to direct questions. And I believe we have a lot of our staff on the calls that we can direct those questions to. So thank you for your time, folks.
Thank you, Kira. Feel free to still put questions in the chat. We did have a couple come through. And this might be Kira and Amy might be able to answer this, but this is from Mitchell. And he asks, how can individuals get involved with specific projects? Which I think is a great question. So I'll say Kira and Amy, either one, go.
Sure. I mean, we have a volunteer list. You know, we don't have a ton of volunteer opportunities, but our Wild Roots program has helped with that. So yes, there are volunteer opportunities. We are also open to give tours of some of the work as well. And so I guess what I would tell the person asking the question, I'm sorry, I didn't hear their name.
Mitchell.
Feel free to put your information into the chat box, and we'll hold on to that and let you know. I just had a call the other day about that. I actually directed them to Grand Traverse Conservation District, who has some volunteer opportunities and is a direct partner of ours. And so there's definitely opportunities all around this area to volunteer. So please leave your name in the chat box.
Awesome. This might be possibly Kim or CP maybe jump in. Do any of the projects include, and this is from Laura, do any of your projects include creating turtle nesting habitat on south-facing stream banks? Betsy River and Bear Creek have a rare species, the wood turtle. So I'm looking to my biologist.
Well, currently we don't have any stream bank projects on the to-do list for the Betsy River, but we do keep turtle habitat in mind when we do stream bank work. With a lot of our steep sandy sites, we're just looking to stabilize the toe. So that sand substrate stays there for the upper slopes. When we do rock work, these days we always incorporate large wood placement at the toe as well. And so that provides basking opportunities for turtles. Plus, I think it helps them get up the bank if they want to get up the bank for nesting opportunities. So there's not anything direct, like Laura and I were on a call earlier this week about how some states, they do turtle cages to protect nests from predators like raccoons and even people. We don't have anything like that on the docket, but we do keep turtle habitat in mind when we do bank restoration.
Thanks, Kim. It's a great, see, that was a great answer. Way better than what I was. Thank
You didn't
goodness
know
for
that I
my
think about
biologist.
turtles?
I do love turtles.
No, I do too.
And this is from Brian. Any development on Boyne River at West Acres Dam failure?
That's-
Potential review of, oh.
We're waiting.
That's
We're
a Kim
waiting.
too.
We're waiting for that to get resolved legally with the state and the neighboring landowner. When we're happy to get involved in river restoration projects, but they have to be, they have to not have any legal issues at hand. And so, Brian, I'm sure you're aware of some of the consequences that are brewing with that dam failure event. But I have kept in touch with the landowner, Robbie. Admittedly, I haven't talked to her yet this year to see where things stand, but I have spoken to her numerous times, been out to the site, and also talked with Eagle as well.
And he's also asking about the potential review of the 75 MDOT road crossing in Boyne Falls.
Are you talking about Cherry Hill, Brian?
Probably
Brian,
you're
you can
talking
unmute.
the milk, right? Right in Boyne Falls, I think, Kim.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
the
talking
actual
about,
downstream from Weiss Acres, the road crossing into Boyne City.
the highway.
Yeah,
Well, the highway crossing is also linked to the dam there with Boyne Falls. So, you know, that's up to the village and MDOT to decide what to do with that site. Admittedly, that structure, the last I knew for inspections, is that it's sound. It's doesn't, to my knowledge, doesn't have any, you know, risk of failure, and the structural integrity is good. So it's up to the village and MDOT to decide to keep that structure or remove that structure or to maintain that structure or so forth. So we work with dam owners on dam removals voluntarily. So
but
when a dam,
because it's not hydroelectric, we don't have to worry about FERC licensing and the quality of water being deterred below the river, the dam, correct?
oh, you don't have to worry about FERC licensing, that's correct. But it is managed by Eagle, by the state. It is
Okay.
regulated by the state, not federally, but by Michigan, it is indeed regulated.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kim. So this is a good one for Kira, Nate, maybe DJ. I love this question. What are some typical priorities of tribes in river restoration projects? And maybe also like how, I think to add to that question, how have they partnered with us? Because, you know, our tribal nations are huge partners in our work. So whoever wants to take that.
Well, I'll jump in there. Obviously, we work with the three Odawa tribes on a lot of these projects. I mean, they're helping support probably 50% of what you saw today. So we work with them very closely. We make sure that we are looking at priorities that are theirs as well as ours, as well as their community and local communities. They're huge. They're huge help, and they are huge leaders in conservation. So yes, they are integral in our work, and I'd say are true leaders here where we live. So I don't know if that helps, but yeah, they are definitely a part of a lot of these projects.
So Kira, I think this is for you as well. Any update on collaborative work between MDNR, Michigan TU, UMRA, others on the Upper Manistee River?
Interesting. And I didn't bring this up, and I should have. We're actually working in the lower Muskegon River on a collaboration project that's being led by UMRA. I'm sorry, not UMRA, MIRA. The same letters. And for Alan, I'll tell you, that's Muskegon River Watershed Association. So we are consulting with them, working with them on the Little Muskegon River right now. But you know, there's only only a few of us, and so our service area is huge. We wish we could take on all these projects, but you know, we also care about, you know, our staff self-care. And so, you know, if we're in a different service area, we always, you know, ask, you know, if something comes to us, or we'll send it to those other partnering organizations because it's their service area, but we're always willing to collaborate with those folks.
And I might have said Muskegon, but I meant Manistee. Is that what I said? Upper Manistee?
Yeah, you said Umra, and then I said Mira.
So Upper Manistee is what he was
Yeah.
talking about.
We have sat in on the meetings for the work that's going on. There's a lot of work going on. I don't know if there's a TU person on the phone or not, but they're doing a lot of work in the Upper Manistee. So is Little River Band. So we definitely collaborate and we help when we can. But currently we have a full workload, and we trust our partners to work on good conservation outside our area.
Awesome.
Kat,
Those are
I
all
have
the
a-
questions. Oh,
Oh,
go.
Kat, there's one for you, I think. We skipped over from Alan, and
Oh,
that's
sorry.
where does your funding come from?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
no,
Where doesn't,
so Kat, do you want to answer that?
I'll answer funnily. Funnily, I made a word up. Where doesn't it come from? We're really, really fortunate. And I think because we work this way, we were able to survive the pandemic. We really have a diversified funding sources, anywhere from we look at them as partners, not just funding sources, right? So our federal agencies all the way up from the federal level, but then the state level with MDNR, right? So those kind of state federal agencies, members, you know, CRA members, individuals, I'll have to say that we've seen that kind of side of our funding last year really almost double in some regards for some campaigns, because I think you all, many of you, are the ones that love these rivers, use these rivers, fish on these rivers. So we do have a ton of our support comes from individuals who care about the river today, but protecting it for their kids and their grandkids. Also private foundations, huge support of our funding sources. And then also, you know, as you saw from DTE, we do have great partners in our corporate side. And what I'll say, and this is kind of my pitch to invite you all to support us, whether it's River Care, which kind of helps us really fund all the projects Kira talked about, or if you love a watershed like the Pier Marquette, or a project specific, you don't want to see those railroad cars go into that beautiful river. You can support project specific things. If you're part of an organization or a company, talk to me about how you can get involved with our work. So it's all because of you on the call that this work happens. So we just appreciate you.
Thanks, Kat. And there's one other one from Alan for Carla, if Carla is still on the line. And that's, how will your project affect the gas suppliers we choose for our accounts?
So if Alan is referring to, you know, we are a choice state when it comes to natural gas. So if you get natural gas from a different provider, there's no relationship to the DTE program. But it would be the producers, suppliers, and distributors that are vendors of DTE that we would be requiring that they have monitoring and getting to net zero in their own production and distribution facilities. Perhaps said a different way is by DTE taking this step and putting a stake in the ground and a commitment, perhaps you should be encouraging your provider to do the same. And we'd be happy to work with them, I'm sure, to share how we're doing it if they needed that connection.
Okay, thank you, Carla. And I would like to, if we don't have any more questions, I'd like to invite everyone to sign up if you're not already on our mailing list to hear more about current projects and things we do have coming up. We have both digital and printed newsletters.
And thank you all so much for joining us. And please, if you do have any further questions, go ahead and get in contact with us. All of our project managers, I think, are on this call, and you can find our emails and contact information on our website. Okay. Yeah, have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.